What's going on, everybody? It's me, O'Brien, your second favorite media mogul, sitting in for your favorite media mogul, Dan Hicken, here to give you a full rundown of everything that's going on in sports in Northeast Florida this week. First up, as always, we begin with your Jacksonville Jaguars. Calvin Ridley officially applied for reinstatement on Wednesday, the first day that he was eligible to do so with the league office. Ridley, of course, was suspended for all of last season after betting on NFL games. The Jaguars trading for Ridley at the beginning of November at the trade deadline. Ridley had career years in 2019 and 2020 before his 2021 season was derailed by injury, a mental health absence, and then, of course, later being suspended by the National Football League. A lot of folks have been asking me, when can we expect Ridley to be fully reinstated? I can tell you this, in talking to Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, and other members of the Jaguars top brass, they fully expect the 28-year-old wide receiver to be reinstated before OTAs begin in the month of April. The expectation is that it will take a couple of weeks before that official announcement does come forth. In the interim, the Jaguars really can't have communication with him. Yes, some players have reached out to him and texted with him, but in terms of actually sending him a playbook, that can't happen until the full reinstatement, and he cannot be in the Jaguars facility until April, when the rest of the 53 and 90-man roster are eligible to do so. Let's flip it on over to the Florida Gators. They pick up a big win over Ole Miss, a much-needed win over Ole Miss on Wednesday night, but at a price. Leading scorer, leading rebounder, leading do-everything guy, sixth-year forward Colin Castleton suffered a broken hand in Wednesday's win over Ole Miss. Look, folks, I mean, the fact of the matter is without Colin Castleton, the Gators quite simply have no offense. Let's take a look at the stats here. I mean, when it comes to Colin Castleton, a guy who's averaging 16 points a game, 7.7 rebounds per game, the next highest score for Florida is indeed at 10.3 points per game, one Will Richard. Yes, Will Richard, the second leading scorer for your Florida Gators. That's where they're at. In terms of three-point shooting, they are shooting 32% from beyond the arc. The three-point shooting prowess you were promised from those various transfer portal additions, the hallmark freshmen and impact transfers that Todd Golden brought into the program, they're just not seeing the returns. The only reason Florida has been able to put a couple of wins together over the last few weeks is because the offense is finally flowing through Castleton down low. And now without Castleton, safe to say, Florida Gators' March Madness hopes may not be a reality anymore. Let's flip it now over to the Noles, where things are, quite frankly, even worse. The disaster basketball season continues. They lost at Clemson Wednesday night by 40. Listen, I understand, the fact of the matter is that Leonard Hamilton lost not one but two players to being ruled ineligible when international freshman Baba Miller was ruled ineligible before the season even started, missing the first 16 games according to NCAA regulations. That, for whatever the reason, a guy who had never stepped on the floor for the Noles suddenly sent them into a tailspin, and here we are. I don't think Leonard Hamilton is on the hot seat. This is a coach who has truly aged like fine wine. There's a reason they hung a banner in the Tuck Center saying number 3 final ranking back in 2020. If there had been a tournament, I do truly believe Florida State would have made the Final Four in Atlanta that year. It's unfortunate that obviously a global pandemic prevented that from happening, but I don't believe that this tailspin we've seen in Tallahassee over the last few weeks throughout the course of this season is a sense of, it's a byproduct of Leonard Hamilton losing control of the team. I just think it's the nature of one thing going wrong and snowballing from there. Let's stay on the hardwood. Let's talk local high school basketball. Round 1 of the FHSAA playoffs underway tonight. Ponte Vedra boys, the star of this week's Guggen Hoops episode, squaring off with one Jeffrey Posser, are traveling down to the Lakeland area where they will face Wiregrass Ranch. You are going to want to watch the Guggen Hoops episode, folks, because Jeff Prosser gives a very good scouting report with regards to Wiregrass Ranch. Speaking of scouting reports, the two guys he squares off with are the two leading scorers for Ponte Vedra, Israel Nuhu and Ben Ritchie, both averaging double figures. Israel also their leading rebounder. This is a Ponte Vedra team that went to the Final Four a season ago. They have some new pieces, some guys that maybe were 6th, 7th men off the bench last year, and now they've taken a leading role for the Sharks this season. They're a 3-and-D team. You can watch that game on the NFHS network, and if they do defeat Wiregrass, they would host a home playoff game in the second round. That does it for this weekend in Jacksonville sports. Go out and have a great weekend, everybody.